Hello and welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Alright, so warning ahead of time. The contractors are here currently tearing apart the other half of the house. So I've got my fancy expensive microphone doing its fancy expensive microphone things. So hopefully you will not get any massive sounds of drywall saws and hammering and pounding, or if you do, you know what that's from. It's not that I've got someone tied up off camera. Shh. Basically, I apologize ahead of time for any weirdness over the next couple of videos, because for the next couple of weeks my house is going to be madness. All right, so let's talk about Week in Bryan. Painting. I actually have done a lot of painting. I did, let's see, I painted the Visigoth Aerotech Fighter, which we'll talk about that in the gaming aspect of things. Painted an entire D&D encounter for a game that I haven't ran in forever, but they've been sitting there staring at me for a long time, and I was like, you know what, I really want to get them done. I got 2/3 of the way done through a couple of battle mechs, and a Grizzly and Phoenix Hawk 2C specifically. And I painted my son's changeling bard for D&D. I got a wild hair going crazy in my brain, and I was like, you know what? These D&D figures that I'm doing this encounter is not going to be boring, but it's got a certain color palette, and it shares several pieces of the palette with Creighton, with his character. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take care of that. And that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and painted him alongside the D&D encounter. He turned out really well. Because he's a changeling, I did like a half and half, like mid-change. He's got the changeling color in one hand and half of his face and neck. And then he's got like the elf. His primary mask is that of like a wood elf. And so the other hand and the rest of the face is the elven tones. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope he appreciates it. I showed him and he goes, cool. But he's almost 16, so we'll see. We'll see what he thinks when he gets it on the map and starts to show off that Dad's not the only one with a fully painted model. And it does mean that I'm probably gonna have to paint the other characters in the party. But that's fine. I really enjoy painting D&D figures because it's a nice break sometimes from the faction-based painting for things like Warzone and BattleTech and stuff like that. Yeah, so that was pretty much painting. Similar hobby stuff. I had kind of a yuck last week. I know you guys you've heard it before, you hear it again. My resin printer went down. There was a spill of resin goo, which was absolutely my fault, and it didn't hurt the FEV at all. It didn't hurt the actual printing part. It got down into the mechanism, the motor that moves the plate back and forth, and caused it to make an absolutely abhorrent sound and screw up its calibration. So I ordered the parts online, and then this weekend I am going to take it apart and fix my printer. I am very, very confident, looking at what's broken, I'm very confident that I'll be able to take care of this. And hopefully be up and printing again in no time. Yeah, so that's pretty much all my hobby stuff. Personal, the contractors are here. And so last night / this morning, we had... So in my house, I've got a lizard that lives in a tank upstairs. Her name is Lady Shiva, a bearded dragon. And then we've got 3 cats and 3 dogs. And they are absolutely such a huge part of my life. And I never realized just how much their presence, even if it's annoying, and cleaning up, old dog mistakes, and dealing with the fact that I've got a cat who gets very fussy and just randomly says, nah, the litter box is optional. But I won't lie. You guys know me. Watch my show. I'm an emotional sod. I'm a big sap, and loading up the kiddies to go off to their boarding place, I wept like a child. And then this morning, I'm going to try not to cry right now. This morning, loading up the dogs in the car to take to the borders, it absolutely just killed me, and I'm getting a weird buzzing sensation. One moment. All right. I know for you it was only a couple of minutes, but it's actually been almost about a half an hour for me. I had a fan in my so my desktop computer setup. This setup that you're talking to right now is actually a laptop. It is a much more powerful laptop than what my old tower was, and one of the fans on it started making an absolutely crazy sound. So I had to like break out the whole air dusting thing and a Q-tip and try and figure out what's going on. It seems that some tiny little bug got into the vent on my computer and he said goodbye goodbye cruel world, and jumped into my fan. So it's taken care of. All is well. Now we're back to recording again. So as I was saying, personal stuff. We dropped the dogs off this morning, and it absolutely just tore me apart. You don't realize, again, even if they are just big furry lumps on a rug that occasionally you have to clean up after, it's such a huge part of your life that seeing them leave and knowing that it's going to be 2 weeks, maybe 3, before I see them again, before I get to see them come home, it hit me real hard. So this morning was kind of not great for me on an emotional level. Now I know that they're safe, and I know they're in a good place, and the boarding veterinarian places are going to take really good care of them. Where the cats are, it's going to be good for everybody involved. I just really hope that they're good for their like house cat sitters. That's the big thing, is I really just hope that they're good for them. 2 of the cats I have no questions are going to be fantastic. One of them is a problem child, and I am very hopeful that it goes easy. I'm also hoping that the construction goes really fast and I can bring my animals home faster than the estimated potential 3 weeks. All that being said, things are otherwise good. The house is being taken care of. I checked with the black radish kraut today. Today was I guess yesterday, but this morning was their 3-week fermentation checkup. Everything looks good, no mold. One jar is decidedly wetter than the other 2, and I don't know if that's just a matter of like when I poured out the mixes, or one is fermenting faster, one maybe got more sugar in it. I don't know, but I'm really excited. So now we set the clock again for 3 more weeks, and after those 3 weeks, in theory, we should have this awesome kind of umami, semi-sweet radish kraut to put on like hot dogs and stuff. So I don't know. I'm excited. We'll see. I love doing foodie things, and jar fermentations are not something that I regularly do. And if this works out, I will probably do more. I've got a ton of mason jars because I bought way more than I thought I needed, or I thought I needed more than I did when I did this radish project. So I have a bunch in the storage pantry that are gonna need to get used. So who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'll make some pickles or something. Yeah, so personal stuff I think is been good. It's been fine. I did want to throw out a thank you. I don't like to do thank you by name, so I'm not going to, but you know who you are. I had someone just legitimately just do a charitable donation to the channel, to me and my family. And it was well appreciated. So again, thank you. You know who you are. And I from my family to you and yours, and from the channel, thank you. Anything helps this uphill battle that is life. Yeah. So let's see what else we did. Hobby, we did personal. Let's do gaming. So gaming, I did last week was awesome. We got to we had an all-day BattleTech game, 6 players. Well, technically, it was supposed to be 6 players, ended up being 5 because we had a cancellation. So it was a team of 3 against a team of 2, 21,000 points, battle value per side. And it was right after my Mercenaries Kickstarter from Catalyst showed up. So I quickly painted my Visigoth Aerotech fighter and then spent pretty much the better part of an afternoon learning how Aerotech works. Which is really a game inside of a game. There are so many moving parts on how to make those, how to do thrust versus velocity, do you evade, target priorities. Like it's a whole other process. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a neat thing that I've never done before. The most thing I ever did with airplane type stuff was like land-to-air mechs in, BattleTech 20 years ago. And most of the time those just give you bonus jumping, so it was very cool to have a kind of a phase to myself, things that I got to do. It was also very apparent that while it did really, really well on the battlefield, like as far as like when it shot something, it almost always had a back shot because it's so fast and so maneuverable. Because we're playing on a large board, I'm able to, I couldn't necessarily say that's going to be my target. I kind of had to wait to see what was going to be my target. But whatever that target was going to be, I was almost always going to be in its rear arc. And planes and stuff, they really do. Vehicles are built to run cool, so just barrel, just piles of firepower into someone's back. I was executing a mech pretty much every turn. The turns that I could fire, anyway, because there was one instance where just planes move so fast and have moving, turn limits and things. There was just an instance where I just did not have a target. Like it was just there's no one here. I guess I shoot that tree. But it was cool. It was a lot of fun. It was a neat aspect of the thing. We ended up winning handily. The clans versus, I'll say Inner Sphere, but it was Inner Sphere with an intermingling of clan technology because of Wolf's Dragoons. As a faction, so we had clan. We had Hell's Horses, Ghost Bear, and Jade Falcon against Comstar and Wolf's Dragoons. So it was a good battle. It was a lot of fun. There were definitely some ugly dice, or rather, dice that landed inopportune for one player multiple times. Just, one of those, I need anything but snake eyes to avoid my pilot being knocked out after a failed death from above. And he's knocked out. Just the stuff that really ruins your day in a BattleTech game. I did 2 points of damage to your tank. Oh, it's a floating crit. Where's the floating crit go? Oh, to the tracks. Oh, what's it do? 12. You're immobilized. I mean, like, just rough stuff for one of the players. I had, if it wasn't for an ammo explosion, my Executioner B would have probably taken out at least one more mech before the end of the game, but I had an ammo pop, and took out enough of my engine that we were using crippled rules, instead of forcing everybody to fight all the way down to, absolute death when a mech is considered to be crippled. We just remove them at the end of the turn. Basically, their pilot goes, "I'm out, peace." So we had a blast. It was a good time. There was one instance that had nothing to do with the game, had everything to do with the game store that we were playing in. I don't know who it was, but they had the new Star Wars CCG game that's coming out, or that is out. They had their big fancy day game that day as well. So the other tables were taken over by them, and somebody brought their very young, maybe 6 or 7 year old children, a pair of them, and while they were sitting there playing their card game, just let the kids run, literally playing tag in the store, while one's clutching a phone that has this just full volume cartoon or something playing on it. Like, he's not watching it, he's just holding it. And the kids are just running around screaming, and it was a combination of parent being a verb and not just a noun, and the store employees not stepping in to take care of it. Or at least basically being like, hey guys, please no running in the store. Hey guys, can you turn the volume down on your phone, on your show? That kind of thing. And it's not a knock to the store. It's not a knock to the parents. It's not a knock to, these are all things that just all come together for that, that whole thing. But it is, for at least one of the players at the Battletech table with me, he was kind of already having a rough day with some pain in his shoulder, and it turned into, now I'm already kind of fussy because of the pain, and now I've got a headache, and now I'm dealing with the fact, because none of the other guys that I was playing with are parents. I can generally tune out kids. I'm used to it. Not that I'm a bad parent, but it's just, you get used to the fact that sometimes repetitive noise is a thing that happens with young children. None of these guys that I'm playing with have kids, so none of them have to none of them, there was several instances where I kind of saw eye rolls, or I saw people looking at these kids being like, where the hell are your parents? It's just, so that was a thing. And I feel for the parent who wants to go out and play. And I feel for people who can't get babysitters and whatnot. But there is a point where if you are going to bring your children to a public place where other people are going to be trying to enjoy their time in that public place, you need to make sure you put on you put on your parent gloves, you put on that hazard vest, and you wade into the situation, and you make sure your kids do a better job of maintaining public appearance and behavior. All right. So the last thing is work stuff. So work stuff has been great. It's the week before Gen Con, which we're going to get into here in a minute. So we've been, ticking boxes off on all the things. All of my events for Gen Con are through editing and into the hands of the GM so they can take a look at it. I've gotten a couple of really nice comments about the things that I wrote. We have a cool special surprise if you come to the Evil Genius Games booth in the exhibition hall. There's going to be a poster that has a QR code to send you someplace awesome. I don't want to spoil it, but basically, come to EGG with your phone ready to rock and roll. And then obviously when I get back from Gen Con, I will take that poster and I will start spreading the news here as well. And probably on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. Just general good things. Warzone, I know that we got our first big shipment of the minis in from the fabricator. We're still waiting on stuff from Muse on Minis. And then it's just basically starting to fill boxes, and we get ready to start shipping hopefully by the end of August. It's so exciting. I'm so excited. I had a really good appointment, a series of emails, we'll call it an appointment, with a potential client that wants me to do some consultation on their rules, which was a ton of fun. I did a podcast on using humor and horror in RPGs, which I think that you'll if you watch my socials, I don't think that comes out until next week. But that was a lot of fun. I got to share a roundtable with the illustrious James Lauder and Crystal Mazer, who was our hostess. It was a good conversation. It was nice nice to not be always talking about the projects and things that you're working on, and just basically go, let's talk about game theory. I love talking game theory. Just general good stuff out of my work life. Still waiting to hear back about the next Shadowrun novel. I have been told that it should be fine, but I also know that Catalyst is very busy getting geared up, busy shipping out all that mercenary stuff for BattleTech, and also busy getting geared up for Gen Con. So I'm sure in the next couple weeks I'll hear about that and get things started on there. Speaking of Shadowrun, obviously all of my novels will be available at the Catalyst booth, which if you are at Gen Con and you buy one of my novels and you want me to throw a signature on it, I will put a Sharpie in my badge holder, and if you catch me in the morning hours anytime during booth hall or booth hours at the Evil Genius booth, obviously I will be there to scribble something on it if you would like. But I have two cool things happening, which let's go ahead and move into the topic of today, and that's thinking about Gen Con, basically talking about how Gen Con, I'm hoping, is going to go here next week. I'm hoping that it goes low stress. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Gen Con is one of the most stressful shows for someone in the industry ever. I love my friends. I love them. I love getting to spend time with them. I love being able to go and play games, and these are things that I love. Gen Con is just not the place for me to be able to do that. People often do not understand just how crazy Gen Con prep and Gen Con itself is for people in the industry. The tagline is the best 4 days in gaming. For industry folk, it's more like 6 or 7 days of just go, 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 and then 1 day of, Gen Con hangover, COVID tests and laying around being like, I've been on go mode for 6 days. That's what Gen Con is for industry folk. And so when I get a message from somebody that says, hey, what are you doing at Gen Con? I'd love to, see, I'd love to, go out and grab a beer or something like that. A lot of times my answer, I never want to give somebody yeah, that'd be great, and not give them the caveat of hopefully we'll have time, because it isn't that I'm like, oh, so important. It's just that there's only so many hours in the day. Combine that with travel time. In the case of this particular show, my hotel is far away from the convention center, so I've got to deal with Ubers and getting there because my wife needs the car, and there's a lot going on. Business meetings that you might not know about because I can't talk about them. That's stuff that gets in the way of my schedule. Now, I am very fortunate that at this Gen Con, my schedule's pretty regimented. I know roughly where I'm going to be. And for the first half of every day, so from like 9:30 to like 2, every single day, you'll be able to find me at the Evil Genius booth. Hopefully talking up awesome stuff about props, or about our products, and selling books. that's that. The goal, of course, is to on Sunday look at your booth and go, man, we have no product to send home. That's what we would love. Yeah, so every morning I'm going to be at the Evil Genius booth. Saturday I leave a little early in order to go be the MC at the multi-table ego event from like 1 to 5. But Wednesday I've got the Diana Jones Awards. No, I'm not up for a Diana Jones Award. But it is a very cool experience to be at the award ceremony, and it's a way for me to see a lot of my industry friends kind of before Gen Con kicks off for real. It is a way for all of us to kind of like get our glasses clinking, do a couple of toasts, handshakes and hugs all around, and then take the deep breath and once more into the breach, because Gen Con's going to start off the next day. Speaking of which, going into Thursday, we got booth time, and then I actually have a really cool thing happening. I've got my Thursday's pretty well packed. I've got booth time, and then a quick lunch, and then I meet up with the illustrious, I think I use that, the highly esteemed photographer KP, because we're going to do some very neat Shadowrun themed pictures for hopefully some appearances down the road. And then I've got there's an invite only kind of members of a licensing company's family dinner thing on Thursday, and then as soon as I get done with that, I gotta run across the street because I have a Shadowrun Live where I get to play as Hollywood Thursday night from 7 to 9 on Six Sides of Gaming. You should absolutely go to their YouTube and watch us play, make comments and the like. I have been told that I should be able to not only get a chance to run with some of my old friends, but potentially get to make a few new ones this weekend. So I'm excited about that. Going into Friday. Friday's a pretty normal day, except it ends with the Any award ceremony, which I am not 100% sure. I know I'm going. I think I'm going, but I don't know if I'm doing anything with the awards or anything of that. I'm sure Scott over at Renegade is probably going to be the one that accepts it. But it'll be nice to support all the other people and to find out there are a few of my friends that are up for Ennies that I'd like to see how they do. You know, what wins what, and you know, comes away with the gold, so to speak. Then late Friday night, I believe there's an industry get together for a bunch of the people from Accidental Cyclops, the Strange Hollow folks. I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I have to check my schedule. Saturday is going to be probably pretty crazy. I start the day off the booth. I have a very quick lunch, and then I run to go run the multi-table ego event. And then after that, I take a quick dinner, and then I go play Shadowrun again as Hollywood yet again. And then potentially try and track down my local playtest team, my local folks, to maybe raise a glass at the fact that Warzone is just about ready to be out for the world. And then we go into Sunday. Sunday, I'm pretty much at the booth all day. It is a very condensed day when it comes to Sunday. I don't have any events or anything like that. That will probably be the day that if I'm going to do any shopping at all, that'll be the day that I get that stuff done. And then we close up the booth, pack things up, and head home. And then Monday will be recoup and get life back to normal, and get started on the next big project. So that's my Gen Con in a nutshell. I am excited for lots of things. I really hope that the multi-table goes off well. I hope we get a lot of people who bring their ego characters with them, or start ego characters in earlier events on Thursday and Friday, and maybe even Saturday morning, in an effort to have cool characters leading into the big event. It will be nice just to see people playing the games and enjoying stuff. Sales are always nice too, and drawing people into the everyday heroes, intergalactic heroes, everyday arcana world. But it will just be nice to see people rolling dice and enjoying themselves. These shows are busy. These shows are hectic. These shows are very, very stressful and expensive. But it is always a reminder when I get to walk past a table and see, 5 people in a GM or 6 people in a GM laughing and rolling dice and having a great time, or like you're standing there and somebody at one of your tables lets out a yeah, and you draw. It's exuberant enough. It draws your head to them. It draws your attention. That's cool. That's the stuff that makes me go, this is why I do this. And yes, Gen Con's crazy, but I get to see a lot of that. I do hope that I get a chance either to get over to the WizKids booth myself, or at least somebody gets a chance to get over there, because I really, really, really want the Minsk and Boo exclusive character. They are my favorite NPC duo out of the Baldur's Gate series, and I would love to be able to put him over on my shelf of knickknacks and things. I know while I'm there, I'm going to be on the lookout for, if I can find, there is a particular model kit that I want, and I can't say it here because people might play in the game that it's going to be involved in, that I know watch this show. But if I can find it, it will go absolutely hand in hand with what I want to do with one of the things that I know that I'm doing at Gamehole in October. So, craziness, wonderful, and busy. Reminder, there will not be an episode next week because I'll be at Gen Con, and it is so hard for me to record between the noise and my laptop not working. It's just very hard for me to actually get an episode in while I'm at Gen Con. I might try and take some video clips of things, but I don't know how effective that will be, or how well I'll be able to put that together. But it's going to be a good time, and I'll come back and let you all know how everything went down for the good and the bad in 2 weeks' time. So until then, please be safe, wash your hands, get your shots, wear a mask if you have to, especially if you are immunocompromised and you go to these shows. Don't let people make fun. Don't let people scare you away. Wear the mask. Do what you need to do to stay safe and to help keep your loved ones safe, because that's super important. Basically, just try and make every place a little better and happier than when you got there. I think that would make the world collectively head towards the next big thing. So, obviously, I will see you in 2 weeks, and until then, be safe, have fun, and play some games, because I'm actually going to get to. And try and tune into Six Sides on Thursday and Saturday night. You get to see me be a gunslinging elven idiot. So, we will see you soon. Bye, guys.